Hello everybody and welcome back to A Royal Reader. My name is Cici and today we are going to be talking about all of the books that I read in 2022. I'm going to be giving you my ratings for all of the books, maybe a quick one sentence of how I feel about the books. So this is going to be a rather quick video because I only read 36 books I think for 2022, which, you know, it's not great, but it is what it is. So some of these are books that I read on my Kindle and others are ones that I read physically. The first book that I read was The Sword of Kaigan by M.L. Wang. I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. It was good, it was very long and a little bit confusing with the world building, but I enjoyed it nonetheless. The next book that I finished was my reread of The Queen of Shadows by Sarah J. Maas. I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. This is one of my favorites in the series. Had a great time with this. The next book that I read was The Marionettes by Kate Winsor. This was a good paranormal fantasy involving vampires and witches. I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. The next two that I read were DNFs. So I completed about 274 pages of one, which was The Court of Dragons by Frost K. What I did read, I did not enjoy a lot, so I only gave it a 2 out of 5 stars, even though I did DNF it. The next one that I had is one that I am going to be coming back to. The Air Comes to Rise by Cici, I think is how you pronounce it. This one was just too long and I just wasn't in the mood for it, so it was a DNF. The next one that I read was my reread for Crescent City, so this is book 1, House of Earth and Blood. I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read was The Bridge Kingdom by Danielle Jensen. I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. It's not exactly a fantasy read, but it's got that type of like fantasy vibes to it. Still really enjoyed it. The next book that I read was The Devouring Grey by Christine Lynn Herman. Gave this one a 3 out of 5 stars. It was not really the best book that I have read. Didn't really enjoy it all that much, but the vibes were definitely there, and that's definitely what gave it the 3 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read was the second book in the Marionette series, Wicked Souls by Kate Weismar. Gave this one a 3 out of 5 stars. I really do not remember finishing this book, but yeah. So these next few were all on my Kindle. So the next one is The Never King. This is a very smutty Peter Pan retelling. I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. The plot was definitely interesting. However, some of the kinks that are in here are definitely not stuff that I enjoy. The next one is The North Wind. This was meant to be a Hades Persephone retelling. I really did not enjoy it. I found it far too long-winded and, excuse the pun there, and just didn't really enjoy any of the characters or anything like that. So I gave it a 2 out of 5 stars. The next book I read via audiobook, but I do have the physical copy, and that is The Diviners by Liva Bray. I gave this one a 3 out of 5 stars. It is very good, paranormal, sort of fantasy, like a mix of all those things. I definitely enjoy the vibes of it. It is just really, really, really long. This is my 3rd attempt at reading this book, and I did manage to get through it. The next one was a reread for me, so this is The Furyborn by Claire Legrand. This is the first book in the Imperium trilogy. I listened to this via audiobook as a way of me being able to get through this one so I could remember it, because it's been over a year and a half since I read it originally, so I can continue on with the series. I enjoyed this one. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. Next one was my first thriller, and this is In My Dreams I Hold a Knife. I really did not enjoy this at all. It was a waste of time. I gave it a 1 star. Next is another fantasy that I read through Kindle. This is The Hunt by Frost K. I just do not think that Frost K books are for me. I didn't really have a good time with this one. I was bored the entire time, so I only gave this one a 2 out of 5 stars. The next one was Verity by Colleen Hoover. I gave this one a 3 out of 5 stars. I was shook the entire time, but then kind of guessed the ending, and it was kind of a bit lackluster for me. My next one was Zodiac Academy, the first book in the series, The Awakening. I DNF this one, but I am going to come back to it at some point. Then I read Neon Gods by Katie Roberts. This was a audiobook listen, and I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed some of the characters, but the smart type of thing wasn't really working for me all that well, so I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. Next was my official read of House of Sky and Breath, which is book 2 in the Crescent City series. I gave this one a 3 out of 5 stars. Long-winded, a little bit unbelievable, but the ending is definitely what made it for me. The next book that I read was Hellfire by Marielle Pomeroy, I think is how you pronounce it. This was a Kindle read. I enjoyed aspects of it. The word building was something that I was definitely struggling with, so I only give this one a 3 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read was another thriller mystery book, which was The Cousins by Karen M. McManus. This is just a YA thriller. It was okay. It was definitely predictable and a little bit unbelievable at the same time, so I only give this one a 2 out of 5 stars, but I'm interested in picking up the rest of the author's books. Next, we have A Curious Beginning. I am interested in this series, but it's not going to be a top priority. I gave this one a 3 out of 5 stars. Next up, we have Twin Crowns by Catherine Doyle and Catherine Reber. This is a YA fantasy. It's a duology. I really enjoyed this. I had a fun time, and the characters were definitely interesting, so I've given this one a 3 out of 5 stars. Next up, we have Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. Didn't really enjoy this one. I don't think I'm going to continue on with the series. I'm not entirely too sure yet, but I'm giving this one a 2 out of 5 stars. I just didn't really like the characters very much. Next up, I had my reread of Empire of Storms by Sarah J. Maas. I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. Then we had my read of Tower of Dawn. Kale is not my favorite character in the Throne of Glass series, and this book is solely following him, so I only gave this one a 2 out of 5 stars. I definitely did not enjoy this anywhere near as much as I probably would have if it had other characters involved. Then finally, to conclude the series, I read Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas. This is the final book in the Throne of Glass series. I had a really fun time. I was a little bit disappointed with the ending, but nonetheless, it was still enjoyable, so I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. That book tower is gonna fall on me. Next up, I read Kith and Kin. This was a bit of a disappointment in regards to my favorite Dungeons and Dragons series. I gave this one a 3 out of 5 stars. Next up, I read Beckoning of the Gate by Benjamin J. Ryan. This is an Aussie author that I met at Supernova in Brisbane. This was a very good series. Beginning, it's very long, however, and a lot of the story could have been cut short, but I definitely realized that it sets up the tone for the rest of the series. I think it's like going to be a 9-book series. This is just the first one that's written. I gave this one a 3 out of 5 stars. Next, for a vlog that no longer ended up happening because the SD card ended up corrupting, so I lost all of the footage. I read the entire Prison Healer series by Lynette Noni. I gave the first one a 2 out of 5, the second one a 2 out of 5, and the third one a 2 out of 5 stars. Really did not enjoy the series. It was very, very boring. I feel like everything that happened in the third book should have happened in the second book. I just did not enjoy any of the characters at all, and I am very upset that I didn't like this. The next one that I read was Rhapsodic by Laura Thalassa. This is another dark fantasy romance story. Give this one a 3 out of 5 stars. I was definitely interested in the different aspects of the mystery that's happening involved in the story, and I definitely do want to continue on with the rest of the series. The next one that I read was The Dark One. This is the second book in the Vicious Lost Boys Peter Pan smutty retelling book. This one took me a lot longer to read than it should have. Smut was okay, definitely not what I enjoy, but the ending of it has definitely got me interested for the third book, so I gave this one a 3 out of 5 stars. Then we have The Poison Study by Maria V. Schneider. This one was extremely long-winded, and I didn't actually know what the point of the plot is, and I still don't know what the plot is. So I've given this one a 2 out of 5 stars. I don't know if I'm going to continue on with the rest of the series, but I might pick up the second book to see if it gets any better. And the last book that I officially read for 2022 was Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. This is the first book in the Crowns of Nyaxia duology. I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it, and it reminded me of Sarah J. Maas, so I had a good old time reading this one. So those are all the books and the ratings that I gave to all the books that I read in 2022. Definitely not a good year at all. There was no 5 stars, unfortunately, so I'm hoping that 2023 is going to be better. Let me know what your thoughts were down below in the comments, and if you guys had the same sort of year as me, or if you were one of the lucky ones that had a decent reading year. I would love to know down below, so do be sure to write me down below in the comments, or you can chat to me on Twitter and Instagram. Links are always in the description box below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can stay notified for when I upload new videos, and I will talk to you guys in another video later on.